The Entrepreneur's Library, episode 108.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Library, the only book-centric podcast that reviews all the top-selling business books and shares authors' perspective firsthand. This is your resource to finding the next great book that will enable you to grow personally and professionally. Welcome your host, Wade Danielson.
Welcome back to the EL. Today we have Scott Jordan, author of Pocket Man, the unauthorized autobiography of a passionate personal promoter. Welcome, Scott, and thank you for joining us on the Entrepreneur's Library.
Great to be here.
Before we jump into your book, will you take just a moment to introduce yourself and tell us just a little bit about you personally?
My name is Scott Jordan. I'm just turned 50 years old. I live in Sun Valley, Idaho. I have my wife and 3 poodles, and I am a passionate personal promoter for my product, the Scotty Vest, which is a full line of clothing designed to hold your electronic devices. And now I'm passionately promoting my book, Pocket Man.
Excellent. What you got the miniature, the toy, the full-size poodle?
I got full-size poodles.
Okay, gotcha.
Three standard poodles.
My wife has one of the little, I don't know if it's a mini or a toy. I don't know. There's so many different sizes that poodles come in nowadays. But okay, very good. Smart animals.
Extraordinarily smart. We're going to put them on the payroll.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. Now let's jump right into your book, Pocket Man, which was actually just made available not too long ago, back in October 2014. And Scott, we're going to move quickly, but we're going to cover the top questions that our listener/reader wants to get answered. And the first one is, what was the inspiration behind writing Pocket Man?
To be perfectly honest, the inspiration was to get on a book tour. You watch all these interviews on these late night shows, and they're always holding up a book. It's almost like the price of admission to get on these TV shows is to have written a book. And for years, I tried to convince these shows, whether they be Colbert or others, say, "Hey, listen, I've got an interesting story. Let me tell it." And I'm getting nowhere, and I'm finding that until you've written a book, you need to do it. So they won't even consider you. So I wrote the book for that purpose. But as it's turned out, the inspiration has kind of evolved. I really have enjoyed having an opportunity to talk to other people and inspire other people to follow their dream and be passionate about what they do, and to learn what I've learned and do so in an entertaining fashion. So the book has really grown into something much, much more than an opportunity just to promote my business, which is what it started out being.
Excellent. So what makes your book different from others regarding a same or similar topic?
I don't think there are any other books on the same topic. It was written in a style that I call, unauthorized autobiography. While it may be on one level a book for entrepreneurs of how to promote yourself and your company, is told with real stories on how I built my company, Scotty Vest, to a $50 million pocket empire. I'm completely transparent and talk about what worked and what didn't, and how I was able to do it. And I think that your readers are going to find that the book is first and foremost, my goal was, I've read a lot of business books and a lot of books, and I am frankly bored by it. I don't want to hear about someone giving me step 1, 2, 3 of how to make $1 million, or what to do, or how great they are. I wanted to entertain people first and foremost. I think that most of the people who have read my book have been able to finish it in a couple hours in a single sitting, a single plane flight, and they're really first and foremost entertained by it, and they happen to learn something along the way.
So how do you suggest the reader engage with your book? Is this one they should really, start from the beginning and read all the way through, or can they jump in and jump out based on information they want to cherry pick?
They could do it either way, but I think they're going to jump in and they're going to be sucked in from the very first chapter. I from everyone that I've talked to who's read the book, it's one of those books that you buy and you can't put it down. There are some books like that, and those are the only ones I really enjoy reading, and that's how the style in which I wrote it with my co-author Tom O'Leary.
So Scott, we're to my favorite part, where and thank you for taking us through and kind of giving us the background behind the book. But now I'm looking for you to take the next 5 to 10 minutes and really give us a deep dive into what the book is all about. Do you mind taking the next little bit to do that?
No, I'm happy to do that. So, I mean, the book begins where I began as a child. I like many people I've learned since, I didn't have a good relationship with my father, and he's been one of the driving forces in my life. And a theme that comes up, that's a theme that comes up in the book a fair amount. I've always been a gadget guy. And even as a kid, I would collect radios and little TVs and things like that. So my company, Scotty Vest, sells clothing with lots of hidden pockets for gadgets. So that was the early connection, if you will. I majored in entrepreneurship in college, and this is before there were majors in entrepreneurship. This was at Ohio State University in 1987, and I formulated my own major, and it was my first real taste of being an entrepreneur when I started a calendar company while I was in school called the Buckeye Men. And the book goes into some things that I learned in that process that to this date I still apply to Scotty Vest. After that, I went after college. I worked for my family business, and my dad owned a cemetery, and he kind of tricked me into coming to work for him. And I sold cemetery lots door to door and knocking on people's doors, and it was a learning experience. And one thing I learned, that I needed to believe in something in order to sell it. It's really hard to believe in selling cemetery lots, and as a result, even though I was very hardworking, I was not terribly successful at that. But now I believe in me. And my father ended up selling the business out from under me, which was a terrible experience. It was devastating to me at that time. But looking back, it was the best thing for me. After that, I went to law school. I went to Case Western Reserve. I graduated at the very top of my class and became a lawyer for years and realized just how much I hated practicing law. Absolutely hated it. But yet I found myself in this dead-end job that was paying quite well and didn't know how to get out of it. And that's when I founded Scotty Vest. Scotty Vest was founded based upon all the travels I did as a lawyer, trying to juggle all my devices and how to carry them in a business casual environment without the pockets that you'd find from a suit. I thought there had to be a better way to carry your devices stylishly. And much to my surprise at the time, other than a travel vest with lots of exterior pockets, sort of like a fishing vest too, or a fanny pack, there wasn't a solution on the market that really looked at clothing as a carrying device, if you will. The rest of the book is how I built Scotty Vest by promoting it. The various things I did. I got influential people like Steve Wozniak on my board of advisors, and later became a friend of mine as well. I literally pounded the pavement, literally, in New York City. I walked in and just cold called media. Walked in. I'm Scott. Who do I talk to about getting an article written? I went after every opportunity I could find, whether they were controversial or not. And I found a way to embrace the controversy at times. One example I talk about in the book Pocket Man is Delta Airlines. I tried to advertise in their magazine, Sky Magazine, on all the airlines, and I had a big ad, with a headline, save on baggage fees, use the Scotty Vest. And they said, we can't do that. We can't, basically tell people how to get around our baggage fees. And so I tweeted about it, and it became this huge national story that I embraced. I even went on Shark Tank, and I talk about the appearance in the book and sort of the behind the scenes aspects of it. And that's one of the reasons why I tongue in cheek call the the book, The Unauthorized Autobiography, because there are things I talk about about my experience in Shark Tank that I think their lawyers would be a little disappointed about. So, but it's important that my appearance doesn't define me. Although clearly was an important one, especially for people who have watched the show. Today, I'm creating the ultimate work-live lifestyle in beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho. My wife, Laura, and I built our home on top of our office, and it reflects the ultimate way an entrepreneur thinks and lives. So Pocket Man is the story of how I brought my company from just an idea to a $50 million business and found my personal freedom in the process.
So fantastic summary of the book, which I would expect nothing less after hearing that awesome story of self-promoting all that time. But this next question is really one that's going to break it down even further. And what we're asking is, if the reader could only take away one principle or action item out of your entire book, what would you want that to be?
Well, it's really important. And this is the basis of my success and what I talk about in the book. And that is, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be willing to put yourself on the line, step outside your comfort zone, and channel your passion for your company into promoting it. If you don't have the passion to promote your business, you're in the wrong line of work. And find that passion. People can sense it when they sense the authenticity of your passion when they meet you, when they talk about you. If you're not sure about that, whatever it is you're doing, and you don't have to, this passion doesn't have to relate solely to your own entrepreneurial business. And, whether you're working in a large corporation and managing a division or whatever it is, you should be passionate about what you're doing, and you'll be happier, and you're probably going to make some more money by doing so as well.
So I think I pulled a couple of quotes out of what you just said, but that's our next question as well. Do you have a favorite quote from your book?
Well, for me, patience is not my virtue. I believe in anything worth doing is worth doing fast. That defines me. I'm defined by speed. I like to do things quickly. I talk quickly. I work quickly. I like people around me that work quickly, and anything worth talking about is worth doing. And anything worth doing is worth doing fast.
That's fantastic. And that kind of matches our, the listener base of a podcaster. The whole point is, when you're listening to a podcast, most times you're multitasking, you're moving forward, you're on the treadmill, you're driving to your next appointment, what have you. So that was perfect for the audience. The last question I have for you is, obviously, we're on here to talk about books, and you're talking to book lovers. If there was only one book you could recommend based on the way it's impacted your life, created a paradigm shift for you, what book would you recommend?
Well, that's easy. In my case, it's Pocket Man. It's my book. I being a passionate self-promoter, if I'm not here to promote my book, what am I doing? But beyond that, I mean, that sounds a little self-serving, but it's true. I've read a lot of business books, and frankly, I find them to be very preachy. Here's step 1, 2, 3 of all the great things I did, and if you just follow these simple steps, you're going to do, you're going to make millions. And I find them boring. And my book, really is about a story, about a person, about things that you can take from it. But you're going to finish the book, and I kid you not, in a cross-country flight, within 3-4 hours, you're going to pick up the book. You're going to find it so interesting from the very get-go. You're not going to want to put it down. And having written the book and now having an experience of going around and talking about it, it's really contributed to my success. And I know most of them haven't read it yet, but your listeners, if they read it, I would encourage them all to please go on Amazon and tell me if you agree.
No, thank you for doing that. And again, what's great about you, Scott, is that everything lines up. The fact that you're a self-promoter and then that you brought up your book, I would have been surprised if you didn't. So that was a fantastic job there. Scott, the last thing I want to ask is, before we depart, what's the best way, for people to get more information on you and your book, Pocket Man?
My website for my company is Scott Evest. That's SCOTTEVEST.com. Awkward name brand. I get it, but it's been successful for us. And my book is Pocket Man, and it's available on Amazon in both softback and Kindle versions. So, and if they want to write me personally, Scott at Scott Evest, or friend me on Facebook or follow me on Twitter, CEO Scott Evest. And I engage and respond to every single email I get.
Excellent. Well, Scott, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your book with us.
Thank you. It was a real joy. I appreciate it. Happy holidays to you and your listeners.
Thanks again for listening in today. If you would like a chance to win this book, Pocket Man by Scott Jordan, just visit the elpodcast.com and become a VIP. It's the button up in the upper right-hand corner. And you can also go to the show notes to learn more about Scott and his book, Pocket Man.
Looking for your next book idea? Head over to the elpodcast.com, where Wade shares his amazing resource, the top 10 business books recommended by over 500 entrepreneurs, with you for free. That's the elpodcast.com. Till the next time, keep it on the EL.